Good evening, councillors, and a very happy new year to everybody. Before we start the meeting, may I inform members and officers and the public that we are not expecting a fire drill tonight, but in the event of the fire alarm ringing, please do not exit via the lifts, but use the stairs via one of the main fire exits at either end of the chamber or from the public gallery. I would also politely ask that you turn off your mobile phones and not film, and any other electronic devices, or switch them to silent. Thank you. Can I clarify that for items where a vote is required to be taken, this will be undertaken using the electronic voting devices? And I would remind all members that they should leave the chamber if they should leave the chamber during any debate, item of debate, they should satisfy themselves that they have heard enough of the debate to vote in an instructive manner. Furthermore, I would also be grateful if all contributions can be concise and that the various time limits for speeches, normally the 3 minutes, are respected, because I will cut you off at that time. Depending on the length of time for the meeting, it is also important that should we break, that councillors return to the meeting at the allotted time in order that we can promptly recommence the meeting. So, firstly, I would like to welcome everybody, and I would like to welcome members of the public who are in the public gallery, but also those who may be online watching this, and a Happy New Year to all of you as well. So finally, I'm formally confirming my acceptance at today's meeting of an urgent item, which is a child sexual exploitation, following consultation with the monitoring officer as a proper officer and in accordance with Meeting Procedure Rule 11. The urgent item has been accepted, as I'm satisfied that a position needs to be taken prior to the next scheduled meeting of the Council. I have therefore accepted this item as an urgent item, and the reasons in accordance with Procedure Rule 11.2 for the special urgency will be specified in the minutes. I would now like to formally open the extraordinary council meeting. First of all, an email has been sent to all of you advising of the sad loss of the ex-councillor George Blackwell. George Blackwell was a previous Wellingborough Borough councillor for many, many years, also a county councillor at Northamptonshire, the freeman of Wellingborough Borough Council at the time, and he was also a parish council in Earlsbarton, the ward I also represent. And I have asked yesterday that in memory of George, that the flag was to be flown half-mast at Swanspool House, the place where he spent many, many years carrying out his work as a councillor. If it is okay with you, I would like to call for a minute's silence, please. Would you stand? Thank you. And for information, I have sent on behalf of NNC a condolence card to one of the daughters who will receive cards. If anybody wishes to make any tributes, then please contact me and I'll let you know the address. I'm opening the floor if anybody wishes to make any comments relating to the memory of George. No? Oh, sorry. Councillor Keane.
Thank you. George Blackwell was a dedicated Labour councillor who served for a really impressive 40 years. He was a parish councillor, borough councillor and a county councillor. He was awarded the title of Honorary Freeman of Wellingborough and has been a true champion for Earls Barton. In fact, Blackwell Close in Earls Barton was named after him. George was a passionate trade unionist and a strong advocate for social housing. He was also a big fan of Northampton Saints Rugby Club and served as the president of Earls Barton Cricket Club. On behalf of the Labour Group, I extend my deepest condolences to his friends and family during this very difficult time.
Thank you, Councillor Keane. That was very nice. Next one is Councillor John McGee, please.
Thank you, Chair. It was very sad news to hear about George. I spent many years with George at County Hall, and he was a true gentleman. He wasn't, you know, like myself, a trade unionist, full-time officer at one time, and he held many positions when I was deputy leader and leader at County. So he wasn't just my fellow councillor, he was a good friend, and we spent a lot of time together during the years at County Hall, and I know he will be sadly missed. And when I heard that story, it was funny, because about 2 weeks ago, as we all do at Christmas, New Year, I was clearing out some of my old stuff that had been lying about, and there was a cracking photo of George when he became alderman at County Hall. Don't know if you remember that. And it's an absolutely lovely photo. Him and Terry Wyatt got alderman at the same time. And it's a fantastic photo. So, you know, maybe somebody was telling me something. But I know we'll sadly miss, and thank you for sending condolences on behalf of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Griffith, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I was deeply saddened when I heard the news. George was an absolute gentleman, and he was a pleasure to be working with him as part of the Borough Council of Wellingborough for many years. He took quite an interest, Madam Chairman, in my career. And he quite often used to tell me when I'd done well, and he quite often used to tell me when I was getting a bit big for my boots. But he always did that in private and never in public, because the man had class, he had charisma, and it's something we could all learn from. I learned a lot from him when we went to a planning meeting in and there was an event that was held in a nursing home. And there was a number of elderly residents that were there, and I'd only just become a councillor, and I was just getting to grips with what it was all about. And I learnt so much from watching how he conducted himself with regard to these residents, taking them coffees and teas and sandwiches and biscuits, and they loved him. And that memory has stuck with me ever since. And I've sent my condolences, and I'm glad that you have as well, Madam Chairman. It's a great loss for the family. It's also a great loss for the village of Earls Barton. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Griffith. Councillor Alleybourne.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I was very saddened too to hear about George. I've known him many years. He was very supportive when I first elected onto Wellingborough Council in 2003. An intelligent man, very much a gentleman in the old school. And he was Eastern Mordet's County Council representative and was always very helpful and amenable when we had a problem or issues. He was always there, always helpful, never put anything off that he couldn't deal with straight away. And I know that my wife found him extremely helpful in Earls Barton. Dancing studio, which had been established for 55 years, had been based there, and he always took an interest, always helped her with various issues. And it's a sad day, so I have sent a card, and poor old George, may he rest in peace. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Smithers, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Unfortunately, George was a little bit before my time. However, the amount of influx of traffic his death has brought to my inbox from my own members and other previous members clearly articulates how well respected he was. And I always have the highest amount of respect for anybody that dedicates themselves to local government on such a grand scale as a tri-hatter rather than a double hatter or whatever. The man must have been so dedicated, and clearly it's a loss to Earls Barton. clearly it's also a loss to the local government family, again in Northamptonshire. We seem to be seeing quite a bit of this recently, and it's sad. But I guess it's the cycle, isn't it? And new councillors are coming through. But he was clearly a very well-respected man, and on behalf of the Conservative administration here, our condolences and our thoughts and prayers are with his family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smithers. And that really sort of sums up, everybody has said what a gentleman George was, and he truly was. I remember he was the seconder when I became first the Borough Council Mayor in 2010. And one thing I remember with George is always having a big smile on his face and never a bad, really, well, not to us, a bad word to say. And he has done a lot of work that we have seen in Elsparton as well. And he will be very, very missed, not only by his family, but the many people who have known him in the area and who he has served. So I understand that George was 90 towards the end of last year. And I posted yesterday, George's work is done. And if anybody wants to have the details, as soon as I have details for the funeral, I will let everybody know. And as I said earlier, if anybody wishes to send a card individually, please let me know, and I'll share the address of George's one of the 3 daughters with you. So thank you very much for that. So with that, we turn to agenda item 1, apologies for absence. Councillor Rowley.
Thank you, Chair. I've got apologies from Councillors Lavelle, Deering, Waters, Councillor Kirk-Harrison, Ward, Bell, Carr, North, Marks, Panday and Ty.
Thank you very much. Councillor Riley.
Yeah, evening, Chair. 2 apologies from the Labour group. We've got Councillor Leanne Buckingham and Councillor Sims. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fedorovich. Sorry, is there an amendment? Just a moment.
And Councillor Peter McCune as well.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Dale.
Thank you, Chair. From Councillor Fedorovich and Tubbs. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure whether Councillor Griffith or Councillor Harrington, who's speaking for you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Reform Group, all present and correct.
Thank you. So are there any other apologies?
There are not, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay. With that, we turn to agenda item 2, which is the declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest anybody wishes to make at this point? No? Okay. Then we will now consider the urgent item. May I see the leader of the council, Councillor Smithers, to make the appropriate announcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. This council notes the deep concerns raised across Northamptonshire and the wider country about the failures of all governments to address the crimes of child sexual exploitation, particularly those associated with grooming gangs, and recognises the devastating and long-lasting impact on their victims, their families and communities. We acknowledge the bravery of those who have come forward to expose and recognise that those affected deserve justice, and we believe that only through a thorough, independent and wide-ranging national investigation across all agencies can address the systemic failures in identifying, preventing and prosecuting such crimes throughout the United Kingdom, and to understand that impact here in Northamptonshire as well. I ask that members support me in writing to the Prime Minister, urging the government to launch a comprehensive national inquiry into grooming gangs and ensure that the findings, the recommendations are made public, and urgent action in the interest of transparency, justice and preventing such horrific crimes in the future. Today, we gather not only as colleagues, friends or community leaders, but as fellow human beings, compelled by empathy and a shared sense of justice. We acknowledge the profound suffering endured by countless victims who have been subjected to the most horrific experiences imaginable. We stand with them. We stand with those who bravely seek justice, those whose voices have been silenced, and those whose wounds may never fully heal. In this moment of unity, Madam Chair, I ask that we rise together, collectively, solidarity, in offering our unwavering support and commitment to ensuring that all victims have the chance to receive the justice and compassion that they so deserve. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Smithers. Could I ask, and the Constitution says if I stand, you have to sit and cease speaking, but on this occasion I will stand. I think that is...
Recognise the...
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we turn to agenda item 4, the English Devolution White Paper and the creation of strategic authorities. Please may I see Councillor Jason Smithers to present and move the report.
Madam Chair, thank you very much again. So the purpose of this report is to outline to the Council the Government's devolution proposals contained in the English Devolution White Paper and to agree next steps. I will introduce this report covering a number of specific areas just for ease. By way of background and introduction, the Government's published the English Devolution White Paper on the 16th of December last year. This confirmed the goal of coverage of combined authorities in the form of strategic authorities. The White Paper indicates that there will be 3 forms of strategic authority based on the following hierarchy: established mayoral strategic authorities, foundation strategic authorities. The scope of devolution available includes integrated settlements to fund local priorities, covering housing, regeneration, local growth, local transport, skills, retrofit and employment support. The intention is that this will enable strategic authorities to move funding between policy areas, leading to better value for money and, more importantly, better outcomes. Powers, funding and responsibilities are relatively limited for the Foundation strategic authorities, and they will not be represented on the Council of Nations and the regions to feed into the national policy making. The most far-reaching and flexible powers will be for mayoral and established mayoral strategic authorities. It is also clear that they will receive more funding. Appendix A of the report, which you've all obviously digested, lists the powers likely to be available and how these differ between the types of strategic authority. Other key points from the White Paper are outlined in Appendix B, and whilst of significance, are not the main focus of this report or the recommendations. Government has also made it clear that where progress is slow with some local authorities on this particular agenda, the Government will have the power to mandate them by ministerial directive to enter into such arrangements. So the next area I'd like to cover is specifically devolution in the South Midlands and the Devolution Priority Programme again. In September 2024, North Northamptonshire Council, along with Bedford Borough, Central Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes, Luton and West Northamptonshire Councils, submitted an expression of interest for creating a non-mayoral combined authority based on the South Midlands geography. This followed discussions with the other leaders of the main groups represented on the Council. I understand that this collective expression of interest has been considered by Government and passes its initial test for devolution. Government has indicated that for those areas where there is significant scale and a functional economic area, and there is a desire for the area to explore potentially having a strategic authority, there is option to join the Devolution Priority Programme, or the DPP as it's abbreviated to. There are a number of areas that have been invited to join the DPP, including the South Midlands. DPP areas will be the focus in the immediate term for devolution. So areas who are not on this programme would likely have a longer timescale to achieve devolution, but with a risk that change could be mandated, as I referenced earlier on into this report. I will just pause there, Madam. So
could we please switch off all mobiles? And if you would kindly make a donation of £10 to the chairman's charity, that would be very welcome. Thank you.
Well done, Madam Chair. Never one to miss an opportunity. It is understood that government will be providing significant resource to these priority programme areas, including secondary resourcing and providing capacity funding. Principal local authorities and groupings wanting to be considered as potential strategic authorities and continued discussions through the DPP need to confirm this to government by the 10th of January. And for avoidance of doubt, that this is this Friday coming. Officials have confirmed that joining the priority programme does not commit the council to supporting the creation of a strategic authority or the specific form, i.e. a mayoral or non-mayoral, and formal decisions will be taken later on in the year in 2025, and that's relatively going to be around summertime from what we've been hearing. The 6 unitary councils in the South Midlands need to decide whether to take up this opportunity and explore the potential benefits of a strategic authority. All 6 need to agree to join the DPP for discussions to progress on the creation of a strategic authority for the South Midlands. In terms of next steps, should the South Midlands join the Devolution Priority Programme, the high-level timeline would cover the following areas. Firstly, government would run a consultation on becoming a mayoral strategic authority. The councils would support government in producing the consultation strategy. It would also reflect the needs and priorities of the areas and would aid in advertising it to residents and local stakeholders. Consultation responses would then be assessed by government, and the Secretary of State would take a view on whether the statutory tests have been met to proceed with the necessary establishment of a statutory instrument, an SI, for the creation of a strategic authority. The consultation would take place in the first half of 2025. Decisions would be then taken by the 6 councils, and I do emphasise it is the councils that make those decisions in September 25 on whether there is an agreement to proceed, including details of the investment fund amount. This would need to be cleared through the relevant council processes. In Northamptonshire, this involves consideration at a council meeting, which would determine whether there is agreement for a mayor by 2026. And for the necessary establishment of a statutory instrument. If it is decided to proceed, the mayoral elections would take place in May 2026. So to conclude, this report seeks approval for the council to continue devolution discussions, including more specifically to engage in the devolution priority programme. This will need to be done by letter from leaders to government by the 10th of January this year. Doing so will enable the council to influence wider work with government on creation of strategic authorities and engage with other areas, including those beyond the South Midlands. This will provide for a better understanding of the additional responsibilities and funding available, as well as the risks, and enable the council to make a more informed decision later this year via full council on its support or otherwise for a strategic authority. Therefore, the recommendations are in your reports at 3.1A to E, and I therefore move that report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smithers. The first speaker is Councillor Edwards. Sorry?
Thank you, Madam.
Sorry, a seconder.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm seconding this report and reserving my right to speak.
I've had obviously too long a break. So the first speaker with that will be Councillor Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It is an absolute honour to address this council as the first group leader of Reform UK in Northamptonshire. The days of the Uni Party are ending. Conservative and Labour policies are pretty much the same nowadays, as we can see with this devolution nonsense. Bigger isn't better. We should know that by now here in Northamptonshire. This proposal will take democracy further away from the people we serve and represent. This isn't about local democracy, it's about party politics and power. This will not make things better for residents or our staff and will not improve or deliver value for money services. Indeed, we will probably end up with a new line on the council tax bill for a mayor's office and bigger increases to council tax bills. Remember, 4 years ago, we disbanded successful councils in Corby, Wellingborough and Kettering. Remember what the recent peer review said of NNC. It said there is a risk that everything is a priority, which is slowing overall progress, and in reality means that nothing is a priority. Their words. Reorganising local government is not a priority. What is a priority is delivering good services, repairing our roads, improving outcomes for children, ensuring that our elderly are looked after, kept warm, and are given proper care and dignity in their latter years. So, Councillor Smithers and Councillor Brown, for that matter, may I suggest that you concentrate on getting your own houses in order before embarking on more local reorganisation. Improve your councils before embarking on another layer of government. As seems the norm these days, this is being proposed with zero scrutiny, zero openness, zero transparency, zero public consultation, zero staff and union consultation, and no referendum like Corby had some years back. And how on earth can we have any confidence in the two Tory leaders of the Western North if they can't even present identical reports to the two councils tonight? This simply beggars belief. The public don't want this, our staff are uncertain of it, and Reform UK certainly don't want this. Members, I appeal to you to vote with your head and hearts with the knowledge of past experience and not with your party whip. Abstain if you have to. As a former board member of SEMLEP and having worked closely with Councillor Marland and Simmons from Luton, I have great doubts as to their commitment to the creation of this authority that includes West and North Northamptonshire. To conclude, I say...
Councillor Griffith, your 3 minutes are up, please. Thank you. I'm not quite sure whether the reference to Councillor Brown, you probably meant Councillor Edwards is seconding it? Brown, okay, sorry. I think there were a few puzzled faces when you mentioned Councillor Brown. Just a moment. Could I ask you, please don't mention councillors by name. It is a little bit aggressive sometimes, so if you would just leave it in different, or mention it in different ways, I'm sure you find a way. Councillor Harrington is the next one.
Madam Chair, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to speak about Wellingborough because it's Wellingborough that I care about, and it's Wellingborough that I've represented for 37 years. So I did a survey in my ward, Hatton Ward, and I found that very few of them, if any, were agreeable to this whatsoever. Big is not beautiful, big is not better, and Wellingborough in particular is a place that when this all went unitary, Wellingborough put the most in and they got the least out. So we've had a real raw deal, we feel. And if you start merging with Milton Keynes, although I hear by the press that Milton Keynes don't want to join North Northants Council anyway, but I understand that if you start to join up with Milton Keynes, Bedford, Luton, Wellingborough is going to be forgotten, even more than it is right now. Now, I don't see many Wellingborough councillors here this evening, and I would think it's because they don't want to have to speak up. But Wellingborough is not happy. Wellingborough is not happy about the fact that there is this threat of going into a big merger with other councils. I've been speaking for a long time, and I've said at meetings, why don't we join forces more with West Northants? So that makes sense. And I was told
by quite a few of the chairmen at that time, oh no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to join West Northants because we don't get on with them and they're difficult and they don't play ball with us. Well, now we're saying we'd like to join West Northants along with all these other councils. So I'm not going to vote for this at all. Not going to vote for it, and I hope that the fact that Milton Keynes have openly said in the newspapers they do not want to join forces with North Northants Council, I hope that that could put a spanner in the works. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Harrington. Can I please clarify that there are quite a number of Wellingborough councillors here, and this is an extraordinary meeting that came over and above any scheduled meeting. Not everybody is able, and I think there might be other councillors from other areas who have not been able to come here, so it is a very unjust allegation. With that, Councillor John McGee, please.
Thank you, Chair. I understand why the National Government has put this forward. You know, under the West and North Northants joined together, we'll have another failed county council. We've been there and done that, unfortunately, and that was under your own party. Oh, no, sorry, you're in a different party now, non-elected one. And they failed then, and this lot and that last lot of county council, if they'd done the transport right, if they'd done the big things right, we wouldn't need to be doing this, but he's failed. But I do have concerns. I do have concerns because I believe in localism, and if we become a massive big body, I wonder where that goes. So I do have concerns about how we do this. My other concern is, as has already been said, as somebody said to me on the way up here, we're like the naughty children of East Midlands. Nobody wants to play with us. And that's what it's like. Nobody wants to deal with us. And I wonder why that is, unfortunately. I'm putting it down to not the hard-working staff, senior staff and frontline staff we've got in this council. I'm putting it down to the inability of the Conservative Party who are in administration. Maybe that's why nobody wants to play with us, because we're naughty children. But I do have concerns, and I'm afraid I won't be voting for this today because I have concerns about the localism issue of that. Until I learn more about that, I won't be pushing this any further.
Thank you, Councillor McGee. Councillor Helen Harrison, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. There's been some interesting things said so far. I mean, I understand people's concerns about this. I believe in localism too. I believe in taking decisions as close to the people that you are serving, because I think you have a much clearer idea of what is needed and what's necessary for the area. But I think there seems to be a bit of confusion about what is being proposed here. So, first of all, a strategic authority sits above the unitary councils, so none of the unitary councils are going to be abolished. It's another layer, which, we probably all have our thoughts about that. Is it necessary to have another strategic layer above? We are taking decisions further and further away from the people we serve. But so just to sort of comment on the comments made by our Reform UK councillors, I think they're misunderstanding that we're not talking about bringing the councils together as one strategic authority and the unitaries will disappear. That is not the case. Again, I agree with the points that Councillor McGee made. I'm just not sure he's going to be the flavour of the month with his own party, because this is absolutely what they want. But, it's really important that we think about the people we serve and do the right thing for them. I will vote for this today, despite my misgivings, and that's because this is still a consultation, this is an exploration, this is not yet a decision to be made about what we are actually going to do. And I fear that if we sit on our bottoms and do nothing, the government will force us to anyway. So that's why I am going to support this. I think further talks are necessary. And I don't think it's true that the other local councils don't want to play with us. I think that we're all working very well together, and I think that's a little bit made up. But anyway, thank you. That's my point.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harrison. Councillor Jonathan Eakins, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. It's quite interesting to see here is that especially the comment that people in Wellingborough don't want it. And unfortunately, I'm 62 next February, or this February coming, and I've been in Wellingborough for nearly 62 years. So does that make me not care for a village or a town where I live and grew up? Not at all. I personally would welcome this. This isn't making a decision, Madam Chair. This is only putting our interest in to have a seat at a table for discussions. And I find it quite amazing that nobody or there's people here tonight or members here tonight that will actually relinquish that chance to get extra capital coming in. I know that Wellingborough needs it, I know Kettering needs it, I know Corby needs it, as well does East Northants for development and improving, especially on their town centres all across Northamptonshire and Northamptonshire in general. It's interesting, Madam Chair, that there was a member spoken tonight saying that big isn't beautiful. Well, shocked, to say the least. That member actually wanted to be the leader of Northants Council before certain things took place, and he was now ineligible to take that position. So I am surprised now that there's comments coming out to say that people of Wellingborough don't want it, people of Wellingborough don't want this, or other towns don't want it. So I, for one, welcome the chance to sit at a table. It's better sitting at the table to understand what could happen than not sit at that table and then things that will put us backwards another 5 or 10 years. So I will be supporting this, and I do encourage all the members just to say that we're not voting on joining a strategic authority. What we're voting on tonight is to get a seat at that table. Now, not every council, Madam Chair, will see eye to eye. Whether they're a Conservative-led council or a Labour-led council or Lib Dem or whatever, everybody will have their own opinions. But a chance we have today is just to get a seat at the table. And I'd rather be sitting there listening to what we could get than sitting there to say what we could have had. So I will be voting for this tonight. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Councillor Eakins. Councillor Hakewell, please. Councillor Hakewell, before you start, I do apologise to you because I didn't ask you, and I think Councillor Smith has left because I saw him earlier and he didn't attend the meeting. I don't think I asked for his apologies from your side. So I thought with two people as independent, you became an independent group. No? Okay. Sorry.
I didn't waste my few seconds there, did I, with that?
No, you didn't.
Actually, Chairman, if you look at the report that's before us, you'll see where I stand, and I stand as I did 4 years ago, on my own, the only elected independent. I'm unsure about this, not using names, but we'll say another councillor said we should have a seat at the table. We have had a seat at the table for the last 2 years, and the person occupying that seat has left us completely in the dark about all the negotiations that have gone on. Last time we met to discuss this issue, we were given 2 weeks. That was August the 28th. As if it was a shock to everybody that suddenly devolution was on the agenda. It wasn't a shock to me, but it was a shock to a lot of people, because the very person who goes and sits on that seat does not come back and tell us what's going on. I call that, I feel, an elective dictatorship, but I think people don't quite like that statement. Today, we've got 24 hours to make the decision. Interesting. There's been no scrutiny whatsoever on this issue, which will affect every one of our residents, every one of our businesses. And we're being bounced into a decision 24 hours after giving us the papers over a Christmas break to read and to understand. Since August the 28th last year, when I last made this point, and I asked if the papers on the Milton Keynes website could be made available. I asked at this council meeting of someone who is the leader that we could have those papers on our website. Nothing done. We then had a member information evening which said, we'll talk about devolution. I said, can we have the papers for this Central Area Growth Board which is doing this? Nothing done. Nothing whatsoever.
So we haven't had the chance to engage with all 78 councillors. We haven't had the chance to engage with our residents. Decisions, especially on planning, the most contentious thing that we do, in this paper tonight will be taken away from us. We will lose that basic democratic process. And I can see another councillor of a Labour persuasion who will remember a warehouse that got built where the signs were put on the wrong road. We need local decision-making. We need that. The sham, which is consultation. When we were proposing this idea of having this unitary, and it has been purgatory for the last 3 years, massively people of the 6,000 who represented said, we don't want a unitary. We like our Kettering, our Wellingborough, our East Northants. Massive majority dismissed. Sorry, not interested in that. Consultation. We had a consultation on green waste. Massive amounts of people said, no, we don't want that. It was done.
You're
This
coming to the
report
end
talks
of your 3 minutes,
consultation.
please.
It's a sham.
Thank you, Councillor Hakewill. Councillor Anslow, please.
Thank you. I find myself in a difficult position this evening. I want to agree with the government that is putting this forward, but I also find myself agreeing with reform. I do agree with some of the points that you've made there. I won't mention any names because I'm not allowed to, but you know who I'm talking about. Especially when you talked about Wellingborough and other places in North Northants who might find themselves left out if we join a larger organisation. Although the idea isn't new, surely the County Council were part of, was it SEMLEP? I wasn't on the County Council, but those of you who were would know about SEMLEP, which made decisions across boundaries, things like road decisions, the road network, etc. So it's not new. So I am in a difficult position. I really do not know which way to vote tonight, so you've got to persuade me one way or the other. At the moment, I'm veering a little bit towards what Reform UK have said. And what Councillor Hakewill was saying a minute ago reminded me of Hamilton, the musical. There's a song in there about if you want to be in the room where the decisions are made. And we need to be in the room, all of us, different parties need to be in the room where those decisions are made, where the discussions are held, and it's not just down to our leader, especially if those notes are not then shared with us. So I would like to propose, this isn't a, right, I'm not putting forward a formal proposal, am I? I suppose I am. I would like to propose that to go ahead with this at such short notice, we need to agree that the leaders of other parties on this council are part of the discussion. That it's more than the administration who are in those discussions, but Councillor Keane would be there in the room, helping to make those decisions and informing us. Because at the end of the day, we can still pull out if we don't agree. And I think that, for me, that is the thing that I'm hanging on to, that it's not something that we make a decision now, today, and that is it. We can pull out. So I think, on reflection, I will probably be voting for it as long as more than Councillor Smithers is in that room.
Councillor Anslow, your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you actually proposing, therefore, an amendment to this report? And
is there such a thing, a proposal to this report?
Sorry?
Can I propose something to this report?
If you wish to propose an amendment. Okay. Sorry, just a second. The monitoring officer will advise.
Councillor Anslow, yes, you may propose an amendment and ask for that to be seconded, but just to clarify, the recommendations in this report don't speak to that particular point that you're making. That is a point that will happen later down the line in terms of the conversations and the discussions that feed into whatever the proposal might be. At this stage, the recommendations on the report are as set out at paragraph 3.1 and are to write the letter to confirm support.
So
I think Councillor Keane wants... I can propose.
can we just have one meeting? So you're not proposing, Councillor Anslow?
Yes, I do propose that as an amendment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have a seconder for that amendment?
Is it not on? It is on. Can I confirm what you're proposing in terms of an amendment? Can you just let us have the wording?
That from the outset, from now, any more meetings that are held, any other discussions that are held about this proposal include more than Councillor Smithers, who can represent us, but it would also be leaders of the other parties. Okay, that's fine.
Just a moment. Can we, Councillor Smithers, did you want to say something?
Chair, that has already been dealt with at a previous meeting where I have agreed to keep the other leaders of the recognised parties updated on this. And if I could finish, Madam Chair, please. Between myself and Councillor Keane, we have had a discussion about Councillor Keane attending those meetings, as anyone can, because they are public meetings which anybody can attend to come along.
Thank you for that explanation, Councillor Smithers. Yeah. If you wish to, Councillor Anslow, if you wish, could you possibly listen to me? If you wish to make that amendment, then please, are you going to second that, Councillor McGee? Councillor John McGee?
Chair, I am happy to second it because what Councillor Smithers is saying is not the same as what's been proposed. It's in the room with a voice. That's not what Councillor proposed. Or the recommendations proposed.
So just to be clear, how I understood Councillor Anslow's proposal or amendment is that under 3.1, that the delegation of the authority is spread to the other leaders of the groups. Is that what you wanted to achieve? Thank you. So can I put that to the vote, please?
So, no,
We have got a seconder.
Yeah, so Councillor McGee seconded it.
Yeah.
So now that's become those
Yes.
recommendations are so they can debate. So we have the
Right,
same-
okay. If you wish to debate now, based on this new amendment,
And then we'll take
and after the discussion, Councillor Smithers.
Wishing to speak quickly.
Councillor Keane, could you get up, please? Could
A
you get
5-minute
up?
recess. Is it possible we can have a 5-minute recess?
I don't think there needs to be a recess, but if you wish to have 5 minutes to discuss it and sort it out, I'm happy. I therefore close the meeting at 18:49, and I would expect you to be here at 7:04, please. Thank you very much for returning. Is this now clearer what you're proposing, Councillor Anslow?
Yes, thank you to the monitoring officer for putting some things clearer, and with that I've decided to withdraw that proposal.
Thank you very much. I thought you might want to, because it is very difficult for perhaps for reference to the others as well, that if you have that particular group that has been established between the various councils, you have various seats. You can't just at your own will open it to others. So it's not possible. And thank you to our monitoring officer for explaining that as well. So with that, can we continue with the debate, please, on the original recommendations? And the next speaker is Councillor Pengelly.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I think it's absolutely brilliant now we've got a grown-up government making the decision that we'll have devolution all over England, not just in certain areas of it where people sort of grabbed it first. And it's ironic that the Shadow Minister for the Tories turned around this week and said we shouldn't be bullied into local government reorganisation, when us in Corby know we were bullied into what we've got here today, which for the people of the town I represent are not happy with in any way. Unfortunately, the South Midlands deal was the only deal on the table a few months ago. But now what the government is saying is, look, everybody's got to go for it. So I'm just wondering, as a leader, had conversations with Leicestershire, as a leader, had conversations with our ex-chief executive at Peterborough and Cambridgeshire, because it may be better for us to link with them than the South Midlands. But the South Midlands does give us some great opportunities. And what we've seen in Corby, when you've got a proper urban regeneration company like we had with Catalyst Corby, that also helped Kettering and other areas, you get proper regeneration, you get money into towns. And we need that money, because under the last 12 years of this old Tory government, we had nothing. We had no new schemes coming forward. So Labour are now looking at ploughing money into local government. And isn't that a fresh thing for us? Do you not agree? No. Yeah. So what I'm just what I'm wondering is, are we the Millwall of local government? Nobody likes us. It's just why I'm asking that is there's rumours going around, and the leader hasn't told us, but there's rumours going around, and people have commented tonight that Milton Keynes don't want us. that Bedford don't want us and Luton don't want us. Why not? Why don't they want this brilliant working council with all we're doing? So I'm just wondering, has that been said, and what does that mean to us? Because the good thing is we've got a cracking Labour leader that if he got round the table, he could persuade Luton, Milton Keynes, to come in to bed with us and be part of this. Right now, they're not, from what I'm being told. So are they or aren't they? Get our leader there and let's get this moving forward for the benefit of the people of Corby, Kettering, Wellingborough and East Northants who had no major investment for the last 12 years.
Thank you, Councillor Pengelly. I have no... Councillor Keane, you wanted to speak? Sorry, Councillor Colquhoun.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the recess, Chair. I was rather confused. Now that we're back, I'm even more confused. And to be on the safe side this evening, I'm going to vote against this. And one of the reasons, Chair, I think we're talking ahead of ourselves here. We're talking about partners getting into bed here and there and wherever, when the leader has said, and another speaker said, we're not that far down the road yet. I would like to start at the beginning, Council. And I would like to say that before we go anywhere with anyone into any negotiations, we need cross-party input. For the leader of the administration to go into discussions, or the executive, whatever the case may be, and come back and tell us what has been done and said is no good to us. That is, as Councillor McGee often says, dictatorship. I knew I'd get that one in, John. And what we need, and what the
the leader would have to guarantee is a proper consultation process. Consultation being meaningful dialogue. What we have witnessed as Northants Council is a situation where the Labour group has put motions to council, and those motions have been kicked out. Almost without doubt. My colleague here, for example, Councillor Dale, put an excellent motion to council last year calling for environmentally friendly waste collection, for want of a better term. It was discarded. It was voted down just for fun. We know it was a sensible idea, we know it was cost effective, we know it was helpful to the environment, etc. But it was decided to throw it out for fun anyway. And my fear, and the reason I can't support this is, without proper input from the Labour group...
Councillor Colquhoun, your 3 minutes are up.
And from others...
Thank you. Councillor Keane, please.
Thank you. I welcome devolution, as I believe it will facilitate local growth, unlock transport opportunities, enhance our ownership of the skills agenda, attract both government and private sector investment. And some of these left behind areas that we have across North Northamptonshire are really going to benefit from this. I do have concerns regarding the fast pace of this process. As a young unitary authority, we are still undergoing transformation, and it's crucial that we secure the best for North Northamptonshire, while ensuring that we do not fall behind with our neighbouring authorities and see them reap the benefits. But this is to get us a seat at the table. This isn't a binding decision. This is to get us involved in the speaking and the talks of what happens. So I'm prepared to support the recommendations if we strengthen recommendation D. It's paramount that we secure the best deal for North Northamptonshire, and I believe that strengthening cross-party collaboration on this matter is essential. So I'd ask if the leader could provide regular briefings to me and other opposition leaders prior to the meetings. I note that the meetings are held in Milton Keynes, and I would like to attend them so I can feed directly back to you and ask you to feed them back in.
And that is £10 to the chairman's charity, please.
Yeah.
It's a very good idea, Councillor Pengelly.
Yeah. It's so I could feed back the views of the varied views of my group to yourself to make sure that you feed them back into the debate as a council leader. So if you do that, I'm more than happy to back the recommendations. I'm confident that we have the potential to garner significant support from the councils, our local MPs, and this is a really good opportunity to strengthen our hand. However, on another note, I understand the feedback from the government regarding the acceptance of the proposal may be received as early as next week. I'm also aware that some authorities have expressed preferences for Northamptonshire to be excluded from the South Midlands. In my opinion, the government has been quite clear about the geography and the population considerations, and a deal that includes Northamptonshire meets all the necessary criteria. Furthermore, Greater Lincolnshire already has a secured deal and will be voting in May for a mayor. Cambridgeshire and Peterborough are an established authority. Buckinghamshire has a deal in the pipeline, as does Warwickshire. It's noted that Leicestershire and Rutland will need to undergo local government reorganisation, as they are currently a two-tier model. And an unusually small unitary authority in Rutland will most likely have to be merged. In my view, the South Midlands is the best deal for us. However, if the deal is not accepted by the government, the council must undergo urgent arrangements. So therefore, if the deal is rejected, I think we should have some sort of working group subcommittee to move forward so we can make sure that we get the best deal for North Northamptonshire. So if the leader is willing to...
your 3 minutes got coming up.
If the leader is willing to support to greater engagement, I'm more than happy to support the proposals.
Thank you very much for your supporting words, Councillor Keane. I come back to, as I have no other speakers, I come back to the seconder, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I find myself agreeing with the Leader of the Opposition. We have to be in the room to make this decision. There isn't an alternative to this. We can say no later on down the line. We can say yes. We can put our position forward, we can put our objections forward, we can have consultation. My member from Oundle makes a very good point about the people we serve and doing the right thing with them, for them. Consultation will do this. So I absolutely believe that we should be in that room making that decision, yes or no, further down the track. We can't do that without supporting the paper, so I support the paper this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. And the final word goes to Councillor Smithers, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to try and address as many of these points as I can. I'm firstly going to come out of respect to Councillor Keane. I know he has a very difficult job being the leader of the opposition and having to deal with this paper coming forward. His idea of being at the updates and so on, I've offered that to Councillor Keane to come along to those meetings, and I will regularly update, as I did present into a previous meeting, the fact that himself and Councillor Feredovic will be regularly updated. And I did send an email out last week through my PA, which offered them that thing. But Councillor Keane, I do need to thank you sincerely over this last few weeks for the support and for the advice that you have given me as well, and your views on this. And working with you as an opposition leader has been an absolute pleasure on this, because it's required that dynamism of both of our parties to be able to try and get to this point. We need to be at that table, we need to have those discussions, and we need to do the right thing for the people of Northamptonshire. I just wanted to address a couple of the other points. First of all, Councillor Griffiths, welcome. You've finally become a leader of a group. Well done. You were a Conservative leader, and a very good Conservative leader, I may add. So I will give you that. You then became independent. Then you helped the Labour MP, and now you're on Reform. Councillor Griffiths, you've not got many places to go after this. Make sure it works with Reform. You played a particular part in LGR. You know the process. You know how difficult it is. And whilst I know you're not supporting this, I know that you will want the best for the residents of Wellingborough, which brings me on to you, Councillor Harrington. I am so impressed that you've managed to get around your whole ward in literally a few days and do a survey that says everyone in Wellingborough doesn't want devolution. So well done. Yeah. Well, that's very hard. That's almost, that's very good. I mean, look, there's massive amounts of investment that could be brought into these authorities. You know, levelling up. I don't want to use the word levelling up, it's an old saying, but bringing in investment into Corby, Wellingborough, you know, some of the areas, Avondale and Kettering, some of these areas in East Northants that desperately need the money, and devolution offers that opportunity for this authority. Councillor Hakewell, gosh, you asked some questions. The agenda is being set by government on this. It's not being set by us. You talk about dictatorship, as you always do. However, I didn't need to bring this to council. I could have made this decision through executive. Exactly. I brought it to council. The executive didn't make the decision. So I'm bringing it to council for transparency so everybody can have their say. And I think that's the right way that we do business. I'm just looking at my notes. It's so terrible when you can't read your own handwriting. But nevertheless, we move on to the next note. I'll try to... Councillor Anslow, thank you very much for withdrawing your motion. I'm sure that's helped the process today. And I'm glad that you find yourself aligned with Reform. I'm sure they would welcome you with open arms. Councillor Pengelly, we have had various conversations with other authorities. However, there's only one show in town, and that's the South Midlands Authority. And we have been working for quite a while with them. You talk about, you know, us joining up with other combined authorities. It's clear that in the white paper that the government wouldn't support us joining an existing mayoral authority. So, unfortunately, that's not an option. Also, don't forget, we did, as a Conservative government, deliver some devolution as well. So, just wanted to put that here. But to wrap up, Madam Chair, thank you very much to Councillor Keane for his help and support on this. And I suggest we now move to the vote and move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smithers. And with that, yes, it has been seconded, and we will now move to the vote. Please use your electronic device and the voting button when the field comes up.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Chair. The vote has commenced. You have 30 seconds to cast your vote. There are 10 seconds remaining on the vote.
Don't close it, don't close it.
Bear with technical difficulties. Close it. The result of the vote is as follows: 48 in favour, 5 abstentions, 5 against.
Thank you very much. With that, the motion is the report is carried, and the recommendation. And we turn to agenda item 5, the political balance on the council committees. Please may I see Councillor Smithers again.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So this is for political balance on council committees. This report will be from...
Sorry, Councillor Smithers, could I just... What is the matter, Councillor Hakewell, please? That is so urgent. I can't hear you.
No, this microphone wasn't on. The matter, if you like to call it a matter, is you declared that names should not be used in this debate, and the leader has continually used names. Can you clarify, as a point of clarification, what that is?
The monitoring officer has just advised me it is fine if somebody is using emotion if there are statements being made, but you should not sort of comment on people who were not even in the room, because in your particular thing, I think it was Councillor Adam Brown, or it might have been Councillor Griffiths who mentioned that, I don't know. But it is in general, we don't want the sort of, and this is not picking on you, Councillor Hakewell, don't take it always personal. It is not the finger pointing, that's what we want to stop, and the personal thing. If you're addressing somebody directly, but I think there's enough said on that item. So I do apologise to Councillor Smithers for having interrupted you. Could you please continue, Councillor Smithers?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So this report will be familiar to all of you, political balance. We've exercised it a few times over this previous year, last time in October 2024. The Council must allocate seats on committees and subcommittees as set out in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government Housing Act of 1989. The report sets out the revised political balance for Council's committee since it was last reported to the Council on the 17th of October 2024. This follows the resignation of the Oundle Councillor Charlie Best and the disqualification of the Labour Councillor, Councillor Ross Armour.
What is your point, please?
Councillor Armour was not a member of the Labour Party at the point where he was disqualified from being a councillor from
At that precise time when the report was written, he wasn't. No. Councillor Smithers, could you correct your statement, please?
Absolutely. Sorry, Madam Chair. And if Councillor Armour wasn't a member of the Labour Party on the 17th of October, I absolutely apologise. And we'll refer to him as Councillor Ross Armour, of an unaligned member. And revisions to the political groups. The recommendations ask Council to approve the revised allocation of seats for the Council's committee to the recognised political groups as required by law. The allocations are in accordance with statutory proportionality requirements and the Constitution, and they are set out in Appendix A of the report, and I therefore move it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I've got Councillor Pengelly first. Sorry, before we have that, can I have the seconder, please?
Thank you, Madam. Yes, I'm happy to second the recommendations. Reserve the right to speak should I need to.
Thank you very much, Councillor Howell. Councillor Pengelly.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And I'd just like to thank the officers for putting this report together, because with what's happening with, I don't know if they're called the hokey-cokey party or reform, because they're in, out, and the only thing they're not doing is shaking all about at the moment. Good people that Jason said earlier, but reform in North Northamptonshire is such a sad, sad day for all of us. And I just want, the reason for standing though is to just say thank you for putting this report together.
Thank you very much. Councillor Griffith, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As I said earlier, I'm proud to be the first Reform Group leader in Northamptonshire, if only for a relatively short period of time till May the 1st, and albeit with a group of 2 for now. But as Geoffrey Chaucer said, mighty oaks from little acorns grow, as relevant today as it was back in 1374. Our party now has over 170,000 paid members nationally, and it's clear that people are worried about reform. It's had more mention in this council chamber than I could have possibly hoped for tonight. Can I take the opportunity to thank our officers who acted very promptly following Councillor Ken Harrington's brave and principled defection from the Tories to reform. In particular, our monitoring officer, and Ben Smith, who we wish a very speedy recovery. Both acted immediately and efficiently and impartially to enable us to have this report before us tonight. Now, officers have recognised the Reform Group, but it's clear that the council leader, I won't name his name, I think we all know who he is, has not mentioned the Reform Group. We are a group in the same way as the Green Alliance is a group. I can't promise that we won't be doing this again, but I'm very pleased that we've got this report before us tonight. A week is a long time in politics, isn't it? I'm pleased that Councillor Ken Harrington will take up the position on licensing and appeals and the health scrutiny committees, and I can't wait to take up my seat on southern planning. It goes without saying, and this is important, Madam Chairman, that we will use our experience and do our utmost to actively participate positively in this council's improvement journey with these committees and in other areas of North Northamptonshire Council business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor John McGee, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, in all my time at Council, I've never seen so many political balance on Council committee reports come forward. I wish you'd get a grip on that side. You're confusing everyone. What I didn't see on there is, and I make no apologies for raising it again, the Health and Wellbeing Board, and I know that's up to the leader's decision if we can have a member on that. I will request again, because that is one area we can really work together. And I did attend one. They let me stay, although I wasn't a member. But I enjoyed it, and we had a good debate and good input. And I would urge the leader to allow a member of the opposition to be on that board.
Thank you. I have no other speakers. Therefore, would Councillor Howell please speak?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Nothing really to say other than to thank the officers for the report. And yes, let's hope we don't get many more of these. Thank you.
Councillor Smithers, to roll it up.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. I'm not going to hang this out. I think we've all had a very long day and would like to sort of get on. So look, just to help Councillor Griffiths and Councillor Harrington, I formally welcome reform. The party into North Northamptonshire Council, and I know they have a very important VIP up there as well, looking down on them, and I hope he's impressed with their 2 new councillors. But thank you very much. Nothing else to say. I'm glad we got this one done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smithers. We will therefore turn to the vote now. You will vote on your electronic device when the buttons are showing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The vote has commenced. You have 30 seconds to cast your vote.
Okay.
10 seconds remaining, members. The results of the vote are as follows. Now the vote has concluded. "57 in favour, none against, no abstentions."
Thank you, councillors. With that, I have one more item. And first of all, this is our officers don't know. David Watts has kindly asked me, he is, apart from hosting a charity golf tournament on Wednesday, the 12th of March, David will also be running the London Marathon on Sunday, the 27th of April 2025. And he's doing that all in support of Headways. So I've got a little slip that you also have. If you feel able to support that, then please do. And I think we wish you all the best for running the marathon. And we will be watching. But I have my own announcement, and that is, please, on the 31st of January, we have at the Core Theatre the first concert I have arranged. Northern Sings Out, the Britain Got Talent finalists are singing and headlining the concert. We also have Tresham College musical students singing. And who else do we have? Oh, Deep Root Tall Trees. And it should be a really, really good concert. All profit, the tickets are £15 per person. All profit will go to my nominated charity, Teamwork Trust, for the day centres in Kettering, Corby and Wellingborough. That is followed on the 9th of March with a concert at the Castle Theatre in Wellingborough, not to forgetting Wellingborough. And I have got Rock Choir, who are very much or very similar to Northern Sings Out, who will be headlining that. We have got a tenor called Joshua Daniels, and some here from Deep Root and Tall Trees, and I'm looking at Kelly, may know him already, and he's got the most fantastic voice, and we will again have Tresham College musical student choir sing there as well. And I have been able to secure a young lady who we met during an awards ceremony at Tresham College, and she is going to do an opening song for us, and she's got the most amazing voice. Please, I'm raising funds as much as I can for Teamwork Trust to enable them to get a laser cutter to be interchanged between the 3 centres. They do a lot of outsourcing work to raise funds for themselves, and it would be great. And then there's a final, I've got very few tickets left for a dinner, and it's a chairman's dinner at the Manor, and it's on the grounds of Tresham College, and the aspiring chefs of Tresham College are cooking a 4-course dinner. I've had it sent out. It is a fabulous dinner, and that is on the 13th of March. The tickets are £30, and again, all profit will go to Teamwork Trust. So please, if you're able to do that, I have asked our comms team to send it out internally and externally as well. Book the tickets, please, to really make it a great night. Thank you. And with that, Thank you very much for those who've been watching from the gallery, as well as those who may have been watching online. And thank you, officers and councillors and officers, and members of the public also. Please get home safely. It is very, very icy outside.